Hi, I'm Leah Reynolds with Agriculture for Life, and today we're here at Nuhaven Cattle Company with Kelly and Aubrey Fraser. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming out today. It's an absolutely gorgeous day, and we just love having you here.
Yeah, we're really excited to be here. And I guess first question is, what is the history of the farm?
Our farm actually was created just about 15 miles south of here by my grandpa and grandma, and eventually my dad and his two brothers took it over, and it was known as Poplar Haven Farms. It was a mixed operation. We ended up dividing that operation, and we moved our portion up here to Pine Lake, and it's an area that we just love. That you'll see that we've got beautiful hills and trees, and it's a great place to raise cattle.
And Aubrey, what's your favorite part about growing up on a farm?
Getting to bond with cows and getting to have my own steers.
I like that. So what kind of cattle do we have on your farm?
So we raise Maine Anjou. My grandpa was actually one of the first importers of the Maine Anjou breed from France. And then we've also recently gotten into Simmentals. We do breed for show steers. So we call them, in our industry, we call them the clubbies. So we do raise club calves as well. And then Aubrey actually has branched us into another breed, which is, I think, pretty exciting that a young lady gets to make choices like that and make her own decisions. And do you want to talk about the breed that you're in?
I'm currently in Charolais, and the reason I like them is because they're really good for showing.
You like them when they're quiet, don't you? And hairy, and when the heifers are pretty and long body, and when they're the right breeding, don't you? Yeah.
So what kind of goes into preparation for calving season?
You know, I always liken calving season to our harvest. You know, just the same as my family and friends that are farmers. This is our harvest time. So this is our go time. So it takes, you know, the months leading up to it. We're getting ready. We're getting our facilities ready. We're making sure that our pens are prepared, that the pens are clean, ready for the cows that are going to be calving to come into. We make sure our barn is ready, and that all of our necessary equipment is there on the ready and is clean and ready to be used. You know, we also are watching our cows daily for health requirements, and you know, it just once it's time, you just kind of get into the thick of it, and you're checking cows every couple hours or every 3 hours, getting up in the middle of the night constantly to check on them. And you know, it's a really hard, stressful time. It's really stressful on all of our producers, because so much of our year relies on ensuring that we have good, strong, healthy calves. So you really work hard, and then by the time calving season's over and you maybe get a full night's sleep, it sure feels good.
Yeah, job well done. If one of your cows goes into labor, what ensures, or I guess I don't know if you can ensure a successful birth, but you're hoping for one, and so what goes into helping that along?
So we really keep an eye on them, and so we start watching for things like if they start lifting their tail up and they start getting a little fidgety on their back end and start getting a little squirmy, and so we start watching them, and eventually we'll see what we call the water bag come out, and so it's like a big white balloon. And so it eventually comes out, and then eventually you'll see hopefully eventually what you see is feet coming out. And so you want the front of the feet, the toes to be pointing to the sky, and that means that calf is coming correctly. And then eventually you'll get to see the nose, and you know all is good, and typically they can have them on their own. That's our key. We don't want to have to help them unless they need it. You know, and so you start watching for just signs that maybe they might need a little help, and then that's when we step in and bring them into the barn and do our best to make sure that it's a easy labor and get that baby out as quickly and as well as we can.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we also have a team where we have veterinarians on standby, that if we have to call at 3 o'clock in the morning, they'll either be here or we'll meet them at the clinic and help us get that calf out.
Oh, wow, that's dedication. That's a good team.
It is.
Yeah, and Aubrey, have you helped with any labor at all?
Yeah, I have. I've helped tag them.
Aubrey helps us tag a lot, and you've been there and watched a few of the babies be born, haven't you? Typically, we hope that they're not born in the barn, don't we? We want them outside and in the sunshine.
Why do you tag the cows?
So you can tell who's with who.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you know who's the mummy. We also have an identification code on each of our tags to identify the sire of each calf as well.
So what goes into choosing the right bull for your cattle?
We're looking for specific bloodlines that will enhance our herd. So right now we're really working on maybe building a bigger cow for our herd. So that's the genetics that we're striving for. That way they've got a higher weaning weight of their calves, and so those are things that come into factor. But then we also have to like the looks of that cow. So we look at the bull, we watch for their conformation, we watch how they move, how they are on their joints. It's funny, somebody can say, oh no, they all look the same, but they sure don't. So there's things you want, nice smooth shoulders, and just conformationally, the characteristics that we're looking to enhance to our herd.
And so, Aubrey, you got the farm into the Charolais breed. Why do you like the Charolais?
Because they're hairy and they're the right breed for me to show.
How often do you show your heifers and steers?
Normally when it's 4-H shows and like summer synergy.
When COVID's not happening, you got to show your steer at the Calgary Stampede Steer Show last year, didn't you? Yeah, that was pretty special.
How did that go?
Good.
Went really good. That she didn't place as high as we would have liked, but they did a great job showing, and they looked great out there.
So what are some of the challenges that you face during calving season?
Sleep deprivation is number one. And then weather. We're constantly fighting weather. Today is an absolutely beautiful sunny day out. But last night we were actually getting a bit of a storm, that there was some snow coming. So, we're having to, I try and get the calves to dry straw bed pack. So we need to make sure that we're putting out enough straw for them, make sure that they've got enough shelter so that they're protected from the wind. If it's too cold and it's really windy, they can freeze their ears or freeze their tails. And if it's really bad, then, there's even the potential to freeze feet. So we really try and make sure that they're well protected, and the mamas are well protected, but the calves, we want to make sure that they're out from the elements. And then right now mud is a big factor that thankfully we've had a winter where we have had some snow. So we're fighting a little bit of snow and fighting the mud, keeping the calves out of the mud and keeping them up and dry, and it just is a lot of work, and so a person can outwork themselves really easily. So you just make sure that you also are looking after yourself and making wise decisions.
Yeah. Aubrey, do you help out quite a bit with this?
Yeah, sometimes.
On the weekends.
Just on weekends.
Yeah.
Got busy in school. That's a lot of work too.
It is.
How many calves do you usually get per season?
So this year I have about 110 cows that are calving, and so we're about close to halfway through now. So there's been a few sleepless nights already, and a lot more to go. But as the season goes on and the weather gets better, then I get to check a little bit longer in the night.
Yeah. How long is the season usually?
So typically I want our cows to calve within 60 days because you don't want to drag it out for too long. So what we do is turn our bulls out the 1st of June, and I'm trying to pull them off the pastures around the beginning of August. But our big push is always that first trimester, so the first 3 weeks of calving. And so we're getting another week will be through that for us. We had a little bit of a problem last spring, so we're a little slower than I'd like to, but they're coming.
Yeah. And how many calves are there per cow usually?
each cow, typically, our goal is to only have one calf. So occasionally there are twins, but twins bring with themselves some problems, that the cows don't typically have enough. It's hard on the cow to raise two babies. So if they do have twins, usually if we've unfortunately lost a calf, then we find them a new mama, and that way they've got a better chance of getting all the milk and nutrients so that they can grow to be big and strong. Our process after they're born is we typically try and get them tagged as quickly as we can. I have a medicine that I give them right away that helps them to prevent a couple different issues down the road. One is coccidiosis and the other is scours. And so I try and get those into them and get them tagged so that we've got their identification. We also weigh them. And then I mark down in a book what day that cow calved, if the calf was a bull or a heifer, if it was born unassisted, what color it is, everything that, and the birth weight, and everything that I need to have to identify it. I also keep track of all of the information that I can about the cow and the calf. So if there's something that I'm a little concerned about, I keep a little note. That way I can keep coming back and checking and making sure that they're okay. And so then what we typically do, and then we start, once they've calved, give them a few days, and then we start moving them out into our calved groups. So we're just in the process. We've got our one pasture set up for our one group to get moved into here, I guess, tomorrow. We'll start kicking pairs out into that. And then that keeps it easier too when we're checking at night to know who's calved, who hasn't calved. And then once those calves are on the ground, we're always watching and monitoring them for any sign of sickness. That things, calves can get sick really quickly, really fast, and so we're constantly watching to make sure for signs of pneumonia or scours, and that way we can treat them and look after them and make sure that they're healthy.
Yeah.
And by beginning of May, we process them. So I guess a lot of people call it branding. We don't brand our calves. So we run them through the chute and we vaccinate them and we give them their electronic RFID tag. Oh. And we keep records on that as well so that we always know that tag went into that calf. And eventually then they go out on pasture by the 1st of June.
And Aubrey, what's your favorite thing about calving season?
I get to find out what my new steer or heifer is, and I get to bond with them and name them myself.
And I heard you have some great names for your new heifers out in the field. Can you tell me the names of your cow and heifer?
Phoebe and Peach.
Oh, so how'd you come up with those names?
Phoebe was my last year heifer for 4-H. And Peach is like a white peach-ish color, so just called it Peach.
So we call her Princess Peach, eh?
Oh, that's a perfect match. I like that. I like those names a lot. So once these calves grow up, do you keep some of them? Do you sell some of them?
We sure. Our goal is to we retain our own replacement heifers. So we've got 2 heifers here that we raised ourselves, and it's great if they make it into a show barn and get to have a show career afterwards. And then we also we sell some bulls, and then we do sell a few show steers every year to some of Aubrey's competition. Yeah. And then we do ship the rest of our steer calves and heifers that just don't cut it as a replacement heifer. We ship them to the auction mart. It's a great time of year. We joke about how tired we are and we love it, but to be honest, I got in thinking about this interview, as of today, I'm already planning next year's calves, and we're not even through the season. We're looking after these cows nutritionally. We're making sure that they have all of the right feed and nutrition so that they can get bred and have babies early next year, and starting to decide the sires for next year already. And it's just such a great time of year that my husband teases me that I always say how tired I am, and he laughs at me and says, yeah, but would you have it any other way? And I say no. I enjoy the surprise every day, going out and looking to see who's calved and what they've had. And it was pretty exciting last night. One of our cows calved, and she had a really nice little heifer calf, and I'm hoping that she might be in this pen next year. So it's always that excitement.
That is exciting, yeah. And we thank you so much as consumers for all the hard work that you do. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's, and we're pretty lucky here in Canada, I think, and in Alberta that we have such an awesome consumer group that I think a lot of our consumers understand how hard we work and that we're doing the very best we can for our animals, and we truly do care for them, that it's a big job, and I think it's a wonderful one that we as ranchers are tasked with too, that I get to carry on the heritage of my grandfather, that on some of our papers you can trace it back to animals that my grandfather imported from France, and I think that's a pretty big honor and something that's pretty special for those of us that are ranchers to be able to trace back our heritages like that.
Well, thank you very much for having us. It's been great. We've learned lots. I know I've learned a ton, and thank you, Aubrey.
No problem.
No problem. That's awesome. Thank you. We love sharing our story. It's a great opportunity just to get to visit and share a little bit about what we do.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks a bunch, Leah.